Hey, welcome to ObamasWeapon.com, man. I'm just getting slaughtered here like usual, man. I got severe brain injury. I'm gonna have brain damage that can't be detected because they don't have the technology at hospitals. It's all fucking national security classified, dude. That's why they don't have automated brain scanners, blood scanners, nothing at fucking hospitals. Little brain readers that fucking decode your thoughts, impulses. Oh, they find out you're having pain here coming from your tooth. They don't have that in hospitals, but they have it in the military. It's all classified, though. There was some stuff about how they've now determined that using a camera in a phone, that they can scan the composition of whatever is there, including blood. And so they're thinking about making tricorder like Star Trek shit now, right? After it's all been covered up. They've had this forever in the government. Because the wavelengths correspond with different materials that are there. So with the right camera, you have full spectrum cameras that actually can see outside of the color, the normal visible frequencies. Then you can scan stuff and, oh, this is gold, this is water, this is fucking, the more resolution you get, you freaking, oh, this is methamphetamine. Okay, this is blood cells, red blood cells, and here's hemoglobin, here's fucking serotonin, and here's fucking this and that, and you get all the information that you need. So they want to put this in cell phones now, and they want people to be able to go around and take a picture of something. Oh, that's a piece of wood. Software will identify that it's wood. And it's not just, so it's going to actually take a more in-depth look, outside of the normal light spectrum as well as the light spectrum. And yeah, it's kind of cool. Government can do that from a satellite. They're doing it. I've been thinking about this over the last year myself. I was like, the more I learn about signals intelligence, I'm like, well, water, it has a very specific wavelength, okay, and a pattern of frequencies coming from it. So does a human being. And there's visible and invisible frequencies. And then I started to realize, and I'm just piecing together with signals intelligence, radiation intelligence, they have all this all classified. It's for national security. They keep it all a secret. And there's already white papers out there about it. They're like, hey, why doesn't the FCC or anyone, all the literature covers up the health effects of radiation? For example, why is that? Well, part of it's for national security, right? The biological health effects of microwaves are covered up. All this information comes from like the 60s and the 70s. That's where they were studying a lot of this back then. DARPA had studied it. CIA studied it. The armies studied it. The Russians and the Soviets were studying it. And just kept it all secret so they can go and weaponize it. That's what they do. And don't want no one else to have weapons like in the public. They're not worried about other countries having it. They already know the countries can design this stuff. They're worried about the public having it. The Iranians have that radar that scans your blood. And if you got a gun up your butt, it'll see that too, from a mile away. It's a fucking advanced little radar machine. They see if you have meth and coke in you. Oh, he's got a bunch of fucking... Oh, it's just Zoloft. He's taking sertraline. It's in his blood. He just digested it all. And they can see how much is inside your body by doing a body scan. That's what this technology will potentially allow. And it'll just get more and more advanced. If they give us a cheap version, we get a cheap version. If they give us an advanced version, we get that. It's really up to them. It's all engineering. It's how they want to. Do they want to design this and put it in our phones or not? It's up to them. They've talked about terahertz scanners in phones before. The sensors in 2007 were small enough that lets you see through walls. You point it at a building and you've... Oh, look, there's fucking... She's taking a dump. Look at the dump fall. You'll actually be... That's what they envisioned doing in 2007. There's articles on the internet that the technology, the sensors were small enough in 2007 to fit in your cell phone to do that. Most likely the NSA has that type of shit, and the FBI and stuff. In addition to their satellites and other crap. They just decided, well, we'll keep this for our fucking toys and our hack tools. And just all that stuff. And they have people dedicated to making this. They just sit there and build a gizmo. FBI goes, hey, I want this type of device. They go to this guy and he actually builds it. And it's any type of device you're looking for. Bugs, fucking little sensors, radar systems, cameras, new types of, like an Android phone with a special like device either attached to it or built into it. And yep, they've got devices that'll log your security code. It'll pick up the signals as you type it into your keypad. They got fucking, like, you know, little rocks that are microphones. They just throw it in your yard and record everything. They've got all this fucking shit. They have radar that they point into your home, and then they can count how much money you have through the walls. ATF was using that shit years ago, 20 years ago or more. They have thermal imagers to see through into your home. And the U.S. Supreme Court's already ruled on this, saying it's legal. In 2001, Kylo versus United States. In Oregon, they were using some of this. And they took the thermal imaging device and they could tell there was heat coming from a guy's house. And they just figured it that they just decided, oh, well, that's marijuana growth right there. They're growing plants there. All that heat is UV rays, you know, lights and stuff. And they went and busted him, you know, and they found the marijuana and all that. The plants are being grown. Just the thermal imaging detected it. And the courts all upheld it, but the U.S. Supreme Court decided, nope. This is one type of imaging that can see through your house. Either listen to you, or see you, or read your vital signs, brainwaves, whatever, do body scans. They can even, like, take a holographic scan of, like, say, some paper, and then they got copies of your papers. So they can read what's on your paper. So if you got some secret document hidden away, and it goes to all levels, they'll take a scan of it through the walls, just like a scanner does. Serious. It's kind of like an MRI machine, and the purpose is to take a scan of the material that's through the walls. So anyway, signals intelligence though. Want to know something else? Echelon. Go read. You can find so much information about NSA Echelon. This is stuff we were using at first on other countries. Soviets were monitored with this. And this was airwave monitoring stuff mostly. So what they did was they have these huge platforms of radar and stuff installed around the Russians and the fucking Soviet area. And the purpose was to monitor microwave, ELF waves. ELF waves, interesting, because that's where human emissions come from. Fucking radio signals, radar, military communications, TV that's going to be TV signals, wireless phone signals, Vanak freaking too. So you're going to have emissions from cables. So you're going to have active forms of scans. So you could, for example, if you had a fiber cable, you could do an interferomic scan of the cable, and then you're duplicating the fiber signal, basically, the signals as they pass through the fiber cable, even if you have shielding. So that's the type of stuff that they were using on the Russians and the Soviets. All they did was take that and then go over to Americans and apply that to them, to us, to their own country. And Frank Church, senator, congressman, people, they investigated all this, the Church Committee and other committees in the 70s. And one of the things Frank Church said was, if they ever turn this awesome airwave monitoring capability against us, we'll have no privacy. They turned it against us, man. They've always had it turned against us. The brain neural decoding stuff, see, that could be done by monitoring ELF waves. That's the emissions from your body. Like, you have an aurora of signals you're sending out. And if you focus, you got the right type of imaging technology, you can see that. And then the different signals correlate to different things. What you're thinking, what you're seeing, what your thoughts are, what your emotions are, your pain signals. You got pain. They'll see you have pain in your toe when you stub it. Not by monitoring your brain, but by taking a look at all the amped up signals, flare-ups in your fucking toe. And they've mapped all those signals out. Signals intelligence. And then they have active modes of the scans where they do body scans like that too. They got it blanketed where they can do a whole building or whole area, whole city with this stuff. That's called remote neural monitoring. But an interesting thing is that if they ever had airwave monitoring capability like this, they would be monitoring ELF waves. Okay, that's the 0 to 100 hertz signals coming from the body and the brain and the nervous system. And the nervous system is made up of tiny little neurons. Each one is separate. So that's what they're focusing on, is all those trillions of signals from separate neurons laid out in a grid inside of a person's body, which correlate to different things. They have something called a lexicon. A lexicon, in its old primitive form, they use these to assist in helping determine what a signal meant. So, and then they mapped it out. They made a huge database, and they computerized it so they could grow the database faster and faster automatically by taking in as many people's brains in different signals as they could. And they made this lexicon that would make the brain fully decodable. You just translate the signal over. The computer does it for them. And so now they got what you see, what you hear, what you feel, fucking emotions, anger. It's more complex. They found out that emotions are tied to about seven different channels in the nervous system. Kind of like the rods in your eye. So many rods for vision of light. Well, for emotions, you have about 7 rods, 7 different channels for emotion, and all the emotions you feel are made up of those, over those channels. Okay, so into different degrees of different combinations, and so with that in mind, then they can get an accurate reading of what you're feeling, and then go over here and they translate that signal to what it had a good idea of what it was about. And they're looking at everything in your brain at once as it's going on, because they monitor everything at once. So when they do that, they can tell, because like for example, a stapler, and a neuropsychologist or like a neurologist who's working with this technology will tell you, well, a stapler isn't just one part of your brain, it's actually many parts of your brain. And so is like hate, and so is this and that. But so is a book, so is Alaska. And there's also, you have so many different associated emotions and memories going at once that you have to separate all those and go through each one separately. And to get the full picture, you have to monitor it all, right? Then you can get an idea of everything in a person's mind. When you have all your history makes up your consciousness. A lot of different memories go into your consciousness to creating who you are, how you feel at any given moment. And so all that is available to them. All they had to do was take the time to engineer the system to read the signals, which is the easiest part, but then to make the lexicon that would help them interpret all those signals all at once. And then there you go. You're fully hacked into a human being's brain through a computer, and that computer tells you everything you want to know. And you can also do an EEG cloning thing. An agent can have that information put in his mind so he could sense it and feel it. That's where they just beam the signals like synthetic telepathy into his own head so they can feel and see it. And they're inside your head. When there's some victims out there who actually had the sensation like there's an agent in their mind, and they're feeling what the agent's thinking and doing. It's real. It's real. There really are people using this on other people to torture them and take out assassinations and interrogation, mostly just to brutalize the victims, because they know that the victims are usually angry and want to fight back and want to kill the people doing all this to them. Of course they're going to get abused, man. You can imagine how an agent would feel thinking that you want to put them in prison. See that? It's just like if you were to tattletale on someone in a jail, you go, the guy down the hall is fucking like, he just beat another guy up, right? And you saw it. Guess what? He might want to beat you up and kill you because you're the witness. And everyone else is not talking. But so anyway, in that scenario, that guy is probably going to beat your ass up or shank you or do something. So in the real world, that's the way they're operating. These people are violent. They're violent to maintain their corrupt power in society, government agents everywhere, government officials protecting it all. They run corrupt prison facilities, hospitals, police forces, all over, man. So, alright, so the thing about it though, my previous video has 7,000 views now. Just under it. Maybe it's actually 112 views short of 7,000. And I made this in 2013. People have been saying thank you for that video. That's one of the first videos I made where I'm explaining everything. And there's like radiation near my head, and I'm describing how they're fucking making sounds in my head and what they're doing to my body to massage me with radiation and everything. And I described NSA remote neural monitoring, electronic brain link, and then I described Echelon, and I was saying that just the stuff I'd read on the internet, how they can tap into like video signals, keyboard signals, and all that. That's all real. But the one thing I wanted to add in this video, I'm just doing like a follow-up, was that, and this is all patented stuff, it's all old technology, it's verifiable by many documents, you just gotta follow the leads. The government doesn't want to tell people, though. That's the only thing that's missing, is they're refusing to tell people what's going on and what they've got, giving them power to fucking cover everything up. So I had this interest. Anyway, I was going to add this, though, about the Echelon. So if they're monitoring the microwaves and the radio, like the documents say, they were probably monitoring ELF waves, too. That's one thing that was left out. ELF waves are from human sources and cable sources, and it's classified. And only NSA is even allowed to like authorize to like broadcast on those frequencies and different stuff. And in various human health things, they've determined that those signals could be hurtful and harmful to humans. And apparently people aren't supposed to create devices that broadcast on those frequencies and different stuff. But the government's allowed to use all those frequencies. Alright, man. This corrupt world, I'm almost dead. I don't know what to do. I feel for all the victims. I think this planet needs nuked because there's too many violent forces in power everywhere. I think the militaries all need to be shut down. I think the people of every country need to rise up and go for peace and overthrow their governments in every country. That's the only thing that will fix this. I've analyzed the problem. I've already identified it's in every country, and every country is involved in this, just like every country is involved in the NSA. Every major European country, different, you have Five Eyes and all the third parties that have bought into it. They're all part of it. They're just spying on their citizens like crazy fuckers. And it's for malicious, insidious purposes. Like I'm saying, can you envision what they want to do with this? If they want to invade your privacy, if they have the ability to listen to you through the walls and watch you on the pot, or even you're a lawyer at a desk somewhere in your building, your own office building, you got your legit lawyer, you're being spied on because you're thinking about helping someone who's a victim of this. That's what really goes on. They're spying on that person to shut them up and fucking fuck up their case. And the information goes right back to the attorneys defending the state and the federal guys on this, whether it's the U.S. attorneys or the fucking goddamn attorney general assistant attorney generals, prosecutor, U.S. attorney, district attorney, all these people. They're all involved. They're like the chief sheriffs and police and FBI, basically. That's what they are. They're the chief. They're the ones that go into court and argue all the corrupt shit that these law enforcement types and intelligence community types want. And protect the state from all sorts of lawsuits and liability for it all. And the information's already out there. NSA is not the primary user of this information, as I keep fucking puppeting out there. It's actually local law enforcement and officials, according to William Binney and the documents and all that. It's just a fact that got covered up in all the leaks in the major newspapers. Just covered up. So it's really the guy, the police officer in town who's tapping into your calls, and everyone's smirking at everything, because when they got you tapped, they're fucking tracking everything you do. They're watching you on the pot. They know how much time you spend in the kitchen that day. They're watching you in your bedroom. They're watching everything you do on the internet. Listen to everything you do. They're watching you as you go down to the Saturday market. They're watching you pick up some fucking orange juice at the fucking store. That's the way this fucking shit works now. The targets have no real privacy. And they're using this to target people. That's exactly what it's about. If you speak out against it, you're getting targeted. That's the way it's been working. You'll do some prison time if you try to expose it, or they'll find something on you to get rid of you if you're a problem as well. So they'll look for any type of penal codes they can get you with, and they might entrap you. Parallel construction is a thing that they're doing, and they just hide all the ways that they found out about you and why they're targeting you and how you got in trouble and all that. And that, if you don't know, you potentially, you're gonna fucking, like, you might even feel genuinely guilty when you suddenly get caught for something, because the government, you know, but they set you up. They actually set you up. That's what parallel construction is they look for, they got a plethora of penal codes to get you with. They got a plethora of tools to use against you. And all they got to do is pick one, and they'll if they're spying on you, they'll find something to get you with. There's so many penal codes that there's enough. Everyone's guilty of something. That's the way they design the system. Keep pushing to criminalize things, to persecute people, persecute them and get them out of the public, bully them, boss them around, control them, interfere with their business, whatever, cover something up, take a lot of time and effort. Take a lot of time from the people, money and everything. And then they look at the Occupy protesters. They wanted to kill them with sniper rifles. They were going to do that. And they had plans. And that's just one of their plans, man. And they used LRADs on them. They had fucking pepper spray. They're just dominating us. And then on top of that, they got satellites watching and tracking everybody. Dude, they don't even need to send undercover agents into the Occupy meetings anymore. But they were doing that as well. And that's like a COINTELPRO tactic, where they do propaganda, they send people in to do fake things, set people up, stir up trouble, fucking, pretend that they're part of the movement, and, different stuff that they'll do to sabotage and control stuff. And they got all the surveillance that I've been talking about being used as part of the game. And they got weapons that they could potentially use. Maybe kill a person, give them cancer. Maybe there's germs that'll give them cancer, radiation. They could beam some in or whatever. They'll do it. They're doing it. They're doing that. They'll do mind control. Suddenly, one of your top protesters, activists, is hearing voices and getting all fucked up. Or, yeah, I'm serious. They're doing that.